This is the best exercise to increase your vertical. Start doing this now and you'll be jumping higher. Wait, no, this one's the best. Start doing this and you'll be flying out the gym. Oh, start doing plyometrics. Yeah, start doing plyometrics and you'll end up jumping like crazy. Do you see what the issue is with all of these statements? This is the biggest lie not only in vertical jump training, but in sports performance training in general. The assumption that one singular exercise or modality will help you transform your vertical and athleticism alone. There's so much misinformation out there and people just spout nonsense. So many content creators and coaches making a video and saying, do insert exercise here and you'll instantly start jumping higher. And I'm not gonna lie, I've made my fair share of videos doing that exact thing, but only for the algorithm. That's how I could get more eyes eventually to this platform. These long form videos on YouTube aren't for the algorithm. I do it for you guys, my fellow friends who are interested in maximizing their vertical jump the right way. Those who are interested in the real stuff. So I'm gonna say the truth. There is no one singular exercise or modality that's gonna increase your vertical instantly or be a game changer or do anything significant to your progress. If there is one exercise that could potentially do that, it's max approach jumps. But even that alone isn't enough to achieve the absolute highest vertical you could possibly achieve in your lifetime. A big mistake I see a lot of athletes make, and even coaches too, is adding one singular thing to their routine, them seeing progress in their vertical and athleticism, and correlating that progress only to that singular thing they added, not even considering the other things that they're doing. For example, let's say we have an athlete who's been playing basketball and lifting for a good amount of time, let's say a few years, experienced in the weight room, and he wants to jump higher. Let's say he decided to put depth jumps in his routine, and he started doing that for the first time. After a few months, he sees himself jumping higher. And when his friends ask, oh, how'd you do that? How'd you start jumping higher out of nowhere? He credits all that progress to depth jumps and said that depth jumps transformed his vertical. However, he's not considering all the strength adaptations he's gotten from lifting, all the plyo contacts he's getting on the basketball court, and all the max approach jumps he gets from dunking in basketball games. The depth jumps weren't a game changer. That athlete was already doing a ton of different things that helped with his progress. Correlation doesn't equal causation. There's always a multitude of things that are the reason for the increase in your vertical. It's never truly one movement or one thing that's getting you there. Jumping high is a system. It's not just about one thing. And just like any other sport, there's a specific way to train it. There's a reason Olympic high jumpers don't just do random plyometrics. They don't just do a few pogo jumps and then jump 7 feet. They have a system, a structured and periodized system. If it was about strength training and lifting heavy, then powerlifters would be the best dunkers. If it was just about random plyometrics, every single athlete would be jumping out the gym. The highest jumpers in the world are the ones that train in a system, the ones that train multiple different things, not just one thing. The ones that incorporate the training of multiple different qualities in a specific order. Let me break down what a jump is. A jump is an extremely powerful movement. This means that when we jump, we're producing a lot of force onto the ground. Jumping is also a very fast movement. That high amount of force that we're creating is being produced in a fraction of a second. Jumping can also be very technical. Being stupid strong and fast is a huge determinant in jumping high, but the technique and coordination part of it matters a lot too. Otherwise, Chinese Olympic weightlifters would be the highest jumpers in the world. They jump pretty damn high, mostly because they're really strong and they're really powerful, but they're nowhere near the top jumpers in the world, mostly because they don't practice jumping as much as the elite jumpers. So jumping your absolute highest requires you to be strong, to be powerful, and to be coordinated in your technique. So now that you know that one singular exercise or modality isn't gonna fix things, how should you actually train? Instead of searching for the best exercise, try learning the basics of how to get stronger, how to get powerful, and coordinated. You don't have to go into the complicated scientific reasonings behind these things, but at least understanding the general concepts of how to improve these qualities is gonna help a ton and go a long way. Since I'm not an asshole, I'm not gonna make you search for those things. I'm gonna explain those 3 things and how to do them over here in this video, but I'm gonna just go over the basics. I'm not gonna go too in depth on these things because I don't want this video to be an hour long. First, let's talk about strength. This is usually training in the 1 to 6 rep range. The closer the weight is to your 1 rep max, the lower amount of reps you'll be able to do. And it's gonna be helpful for your vertical and your strength gains to train in different rep ranges for different adaptations. Really push yourself on the weight. Each week, of course, progressively overload on the weight by at least 5 pounds, and you'll slowly but surely noticing yourself getting stronger. Think of your max strength, the total amount of force you could possibly produce, as the ceiling for your explosive capabilities. When you're moving fast and explosive, you're never gonna reach that full strength, but the higher your ceiling is, the more force you'll be able to use at high speeds. So no, you don't have to be as strong as a powerlifter, but if you're not consistently improving your strength, you're gonna be capping your power potential. That brings me over to power. What is power? Power is force times velocity. So if you want high amounts of power, you need to be strong and you need to be fast. But power is about how fast you can produce that force. You can be the strongest man in the world, but if you need 5 seconds to produce that high amount of force, you're not gonna jump very high. This is usually training in the 3 to 6 rep range. The lower the rep range means training at heavy weights, but at slower velocities. Usually the lower the rep range means training at heavy weights, but at slower velocities. And usually with higher rep ranges, is you're training with lighter weights, but at faster velocities. Training at different rep ranges at different velocities will help you train different qualities that will end up helping you jump higher. This is where things like Olympic lifting, fast squatting, and plyometrics come into play. And finally, technique. If you have poor technique, being very strong and very powerful will make up for it a lot, by a good amount actually. But your technique is what's gonna get you to the top. It's not like there's one way to jump. Like there's not one way to jump with 2 feet or one way to jump with 1 foot. It all depends on your preferences and what you're good at. Knowing your strengths and using that to your advantage. Some people need a lot of steps to develop speed so that they can jump high. Some people can jump higher with 4 steps. Some people can jump their highest with a standing. It all depends on you. The best way to get better at this is to just keep repping it out. Rep it out as much as you can, of course without getting injured, and watch the elite jumpers with a similar style as you. Most coordinated and elite athletes are already naturally good jumpers, so there's no need to really overthink this, but you'll know if your technique is lacking. The main cues you need to know when jumping is to speed up as you get closer to takeoff, have no stutter steps, keeping your center of mass leveled and not fluctuating too much, and being able to transfer that horizontal momentum into a vertical with that block foot. Now that you know how to get stronger, get powerful, and get more coordinated with your technique, you gotta figure out what's limiting you as an athlete. If you're strong but slow, then you probably need more speed and power work to get faster, make up for that weakness. If you're fast but weak, then you probably need to get stronger. And if your technique is off, you might need to prioritize fixing your mechanics. It's all about balance and doing what you need to do. There's no one way to tackle jump training. Every single athlete is different. Figure out what you need to get better at and put an initial emphasis on that. Once that weakness isn't much of a weakness anymore, eventually you need to know how to periodize your training so that you're able to work on all these different qualities all at once. And if you want to know how to be a balanced jumping athlete, sign up for Get Up Vertical for 55% off your first month in my description. All the things I just talked about is why I do a conjugate-based periodization method for most of my athletes, so that we're training multiple different qualities all at once while putting emphasis on one quality. And this is so I can have them be a better overall athlete. So let me take care of the background stuff for you and you can focus on jumping 40+ inches. But yeah, 55% off your first month. Sign up now in my description. Don't sign up if you're not serious, okay? So to sum it up, take those videos that say that one singular exercise or even multiple different exercises transform their verticals with a grain of salt, because there's more to the story and what they did for training that contributed to their vertical than just that one thing. It's fine to incorporate these specific things to your routine, but don't expect crazy results from just doing that. And I'm gonna be honest again, you're probably gonna continue seeing me post those stuff, posting this exercise is the best for bounce, but of course for the algorithm, for the engagement, and that's so I can eventually funnel them to this YouTube channel where all the gems are at. So stay tuned here. But yeah, I just wanted to tackle this topic because I've been getting a lot of DMs saying that they started incorporating so-and-so exercise and they're not jumping that high. And I'd rather make this video than explain to hundreds of different athletes why they're not jumping higher. Mostly the young guys. If you're here, hope you learned. Take it easy. Later.